Hey you guys, it's a new year, got a new camera, and I've got some new goals in the kitchen. Here at the Rod Squad, we are all about that big family life with nourishing meals and living a healthy lifestyle. So moving into 2023, one of the things that is one of my kitchen goals is to start making by the end of the year, I want to be making all of our family's bread products. Now, last year, 2022, I definitely did a lot more with dough and was learning a lot of different techniques. So I kind of feel prepared to kind of step into the new year. I'm starting off January with doing all of our sandwich bread. So my goal is to add a new thing every month until it becomes a habit and then continue on with it. So here in January, I've been doing a lot of bread. I'm doing a new recipe today, which is like a honey oat bread. So we're gonna try that out. But I get really proficient where it's really easy and it just comes like second nature. Then next month, maybe I'll move into pita bread, and then I'll move into tortillas, and then I'll move into all the different things. Now, this is not to say that I've never done any of these things before. I have made tortillas, I have made English muffins, I've made pita, I've made naan, but not on a regular basis. So that's where I'm trying to make it to. That's my goal, is by the end of the year to be fully making all of our bread products. Other things you could make are waffles, pancakes, biscuits, muffins. All of those things are items that I am already consistently able to make, and it's definitely a habit, a weekly, monthly sort of thing. So I'm not really doing those, but that you could even start there with just saying, I'm gonna stop buying, pre-packaged frozen waffles, and I'm gonna make waffles, I'm gonna freeze them for my family. So I just love making attainable goals like that. So we're gonna get in the kitchen. We are gonna whip up today some pumpkin muffins. We are gonna whip up some 3 loaves of the honey oat bread. And yeah, I'm excited just moving into this new year and just achieving small goals each month to attain my big overall year goal. So I had 2 girlies in the kitchen helping me today with the pumpkin muffins. And mamas, here's the deal. I know that it can be challenging having little ones help because they are slower and they are messier. Those things are true. But I can't think of one time that I've said yes to my kids helping that I've regretted it. Now, don't get me wrong. There are moments where I'm in a time crunch and I have to say, no, you can help me another time. But all in all, I love getting my kids in the kitchen. It just gives them such basic life skills. It gives them one-on-one quality time with you, and they're having fun. It is play to them. So these pumpkin muffins are turning out super delicious. I, of course, had to add in some chocolate chips. And one of my favorite things to do, number one, these paper liners are perfect for easy cleanup. And then using an ice cream scoop is probably my favorite hack of all times when it comes to making muffins. They turn out much more even, and it's just such a quick process and a very clean process. The batter didn't make quite as much as I thought, so I went ahead and was taking some of those out, but these were very delicious and beautiful looking pumpkin muffins. These can freeze really well. Just put them in a Ziploc bag, put them in the freezer, pull them out whenever you're ready. And on big baking or cook prep days, I love to rinse my dishes and clean as I go. After that, I got started making the sandwich bread, which is like a honey oat type of bread. So I'm just adding in all of the dry ingredients here to my mixer. And this recipe actually had me using the paddle attachment first to mix in some of the ingredients. I'm also adding in some olive oil, some honey. I don't like doing dishes, so it was half a cup of each, so I just used 1 cup and did half and half. So there goes my honey and my oil. So after I gave all of those ingredients a good stir, I then stopped it and I added in my yeast to that warm water ingredient mixture that I've got going there. Later in the year, I am wanting to work with sourdough bread again, but for me, starting with yeast bread was just a lot easier to get me going, like get the snowball rolling when it came to making homemade bread. Sometimes we can make things really overly complicated in our mind and we can overwhelm ourselves instead of just breaking it apart and little chunks of what is doable, what is possible right now for me. So for me, doing sourdough was just a little out of the question, but starting with some yeast spreads was definitely doable. So after I mixed in the yeast and let it rest for about 10 minutes, then the recipe had me adding in the actual dough hook. And here I'm just gonna start adding in the flour, 1 cup at a time. After it heated for about 8 minutes, I went ahead and oiled my bowl. So I'm going to be placing that dough right in the oiled bowl and covering it up so it can double in size. I also put a little oil there on the top, and then I'm going to cover it and start my timer for 1 hour. Okay, the waiting is over for now. So here's my dough, nice and doubled in size. I'm just gonna punch it down, drop it onto the counter, and start shaping my loaves. Since this loaf was making 3, I decided to just kind of try to do like a pie cut, like into 3 sections. But here's the deal, when you're making anything homemade, whether it's those muffins over there, waffles in a waffle iron, or homemade bread, it's not ever going to be perfect, because guess what? You are not a machine, you are a human, and we're all going to make it a little bit different. Might be a little lumpier one day, a little lopsided another day, but you know what? Yes, some of my loaves were larger than the other, but they all came out delicious and just a warm, nourishing meal for my family, and something that you can make for way less money than the grocery store and with way less additives and ingredients and chemicals and monodiglycerides and things that you just don't need or want in your bread. So here I'm doing this kind of roll technique. I do think there's multiple ways to form a loaf of bread, and then I'm just kind of tucking up under the edges, but all in all they weren't perfect, but they were delicious. So we're putting them in our pans and letting them rise once again. And just for aesthetics, I'm adding on some oats here to the top. I just had washed it with a little bit of water so that the oats would stick. Put a little oil on my saran wrap here so that it wouldn't stick as it rises. And I'm just covering up my little baby dough balls, you know, just getting them ready. And so while that was rising for another hour, I mixed up this delicious new recipe I've been making of cottage cheese blueberry muffins. Do not let the cottage cheese deter you. They are delicious and rather high in protein because of all the cottage cheese. And back to our bread, you see how it is puffed up. Good thing I added that oil because it is definitely touching the saran wrap. And so they are ready. They are ready to go into the oven and bake. And I was so excited. Just that they're not quite done yet, but they turned out so good. I actually sliced them all once they had cooled completely. I froze 2, and then we ate 1 that day. So what's great about this is that I don't have to make bread every time we want bread. I had some there in the freezer. If you want to follow along for healthy living mindset and lifestyle, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Can't wait to see you next time. You guys have a blessed day.